in the early morning rain, with a dollar in my hand. In the early morning rain, with no place to go, out on runway number 9, big 707 set to go. Well, there she goes, my friend, she's rolling down at last. Hear the mighty engines roar, and the sun always shines. She'll be flying over my home in about 3 hours' time. You can't jump a jet plane like you can a freight train, so I best be on my way in the early morning rain. So I best be on my way in the early morning rain.
Hello there, welcome to Inquiring Minds. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen review. But before we get to John's fascinating 3D printed fountain pen, I want to take a moment to mark the passing of one of my musical heroes, Gordon Lightfoot, who passed away at the age of 84 last Monday night. Gord was still performing on tour just a month ago, and still had tour dates on his schedule. I learned to play guitar when I was 14 because I wanted to be Gordon Lightfoot. I was privileged to see Lightfoot perform in person on 2 occasions, the second of which I was just 20 feet away from my guitar hero and Canadian music legend for 90 minutes of pure joy. I took these blurry, shaky iPhone photos of him on stage with his iconic guitars, his Martin D18 6-string, and his inspirational Gibson B45 12-string. His song, If You Could Read My Mind, is so firmly planted in my soul, it comes back to me as if I was still 14 and hearing it over and over on my parents' kitchen radio in 1970. I wanted a guitar. No, I needed a guitar. Grief is a funny thing. It continues to sneak up on you at the most unexpected times. It isn't unlike losing a parent, where a memory taps the wellspring of emotion so quickly it overwhelms you. And although I didn't know Gordon personally, I knew his music personally, and the loss of the creative genius that created such sublime depth of feeling with his music hits deeper than you'd expect. So please forgive my overlong musical introduction to this pen video in tribute to an artist who is so very close to my heart. You can see the unedited version of my cover tribute to Gordon Lightfoot's Early Morning Rain by clicking right up here. But now to the purpose of this video. John Hubbard's 3D printed pen, the Mars Rover. John designed and 3D printed this Moonwalk pen in 2019 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969. You can see my review of this pen by clicking right up here. John was an engineer who worked on the Saturn V rocket, which was built in Huntsville, Alabama, and propelled the Apollo 11 spacecraft to the moon. And his next 3D printed project is this 3D printed fountain pen that celebrates the Mars rover that roams the surface of Mars and continues to send back fascinating images and information on our closest neighbor in the solar system. So let's take a close look at the surface of Mars right now. And I have a box here from Huntsville, Alabama, and one of my pen friends, I like to call him my pen friend, John Hubbard of Huntsville, Alabama, who made this Moonwalk pen. I had the privilege of trying one out and actually keeping it. This is the Moonwalk pen that John made. It's 3D printed. It has Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin's footprint on the moon. Wonderful, wonderful pen. It says, "We came in peace for all mankind." It was produced for the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing. and John was an engineer on the Apollo project in Huntsville, Alabama. It has a nice Franklin Christoph nib on it, black, beautiful pen. It came in this beautiful rickshaw bag. And then John contacted me and said he has a new pen, and it is of Mars. So I'm really excited to try this out, shaking with anticipation. So let's open it up and see. And there's a note. Ooh, something there. It comes with a certificate of authenticity. Mars Rover pen, limited edition, number 4 of 47, signed by John T. Hubbard of Huntsville, Alabama. So more information about the pen, which I shall impart in the review. Artcraft. Ooh, nicely sealed. Here's the pen. Ooh, an interesting rickshaw bag. Isn't that nice? Artcraft pens of Huntsville, Alabama. John Hubbard. So he's named his company. And I've got a sticker. Royal Plush by Rickshaw Bagworks. Before I get this out, I want to see the pen. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. And there's the rover tracks running across the Mars surface. Isn't that clever? And the Mars surface cracked and red. And there it is. There's the Franklin Christoph nib. This one's in a medium. Black plastic feed. Nice thick section. Cartridge converter. It's all 3D printed, folks. And let's open this up. There's the little color verse. Martian ink. Isn't that wonderful? I can't wait to put this pen through its paces with its new ink. Thank you, John. The Mars Rover. I'll show the parts and features of this pen, some size comparisons and measurements, and then provide a writing sample. And then I'll talk about what I like and what I don't like so much about this fountain pen. The first thing I did when I got this pen from John was to compare it with the Moonwalk pen that he sent me last year. I thought he might have used the Moonwalk as a model and just did different texture and color treatment, but no. John has made some subtle improvements over the Moonwalk. Not that the Moonwalk needed improvement, but immediately in my hand I could feel that the pen was slightly smaller, posted better, and has better balance than the Moonwalk. So here they are together, and you can see that the Mars Rover is a sleeker, shorter pen, both posted and unposted. With the reddish-brown color and texture of this pen, it really does look like you're writing with a cigar.
For a woman is only a woman, my boy, but a good cigar is a smoke.
Let's take a closer look at this pen. Of course, it is a cigar-shaped pen, and the texture is three-dimensional. We can trace the tracks of the Rover across the top of the cap as they spiral down and continue down the barrel. The surface of Mars is also very tactile. You can feel the cracks and crevices in the Martian soil.
You are on Mars. Isn't that lovely?
John also mentioned that there's a small hand-painted shadow of the Mars helicopter Ingenuity on the pen, and I think I found it right there. The big difference between the Moonwalk and the Mars Rover, of course, is the addition of the screw-on cap. John tells me that he hates the feeling of cap threads under his fingers, so he placed the cap threads at the top of the section towards the nib rather than at the bottom. The pen takes 1.5 rotations to unscrew, and the cap posts deeply and securely. The top of the section contacts the ledge inside the cap to seal the nib. The section is also a bit thicker and less tapered than the Moonwalk, and I like it very much. Just below the section, it is hand-painted in gold with John's name and the limited edition number of 47 pieces. And there's John's signature. The number 47 is significant because it represents the number of attempts to date to place orbiters, landers, and rovers on or around Mars.
At last, after 2,000 years of work, the Illudium Q-36 explosive space modulator.
Let's take a closer look at this nib. It is a black enameled number 6 size Jovo nib from Franklin Christoph and is identical to the nib on the Moonwalk pen. The medium Jovo nib is part of a nib assembly that unscrews for maintenance or replacement. and there's the black plastic feed. The section unscrews to reveal the included Schmidt converter, which is standard international. The pen will also accept standard international cartridges. I have noticed that sometimes when you try to unscrew the cap, it unscrews the section instead. So maybe the addition of a silicone O-ring there would keep that barrel from unscrewing while you're trying to uncap the pen. The pen is very comfortable in the hand, posted and unposted, and is extremely light at only 22 grams. There's a wonderful video of the entire 3D pen making process that John uses to make both the Moonwalk and the Mars Rover. I'll link that video in the description below. Over the years, NASA has sent 5 robotic vehicles called Rovers to Mars. The names of the 5 rovers are Sojourner, Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, and Perseverance. And the Perseverance landed on Mars in February of 2021 and is still roaming the surface, sending back data and images.
Isn't that lovely?
Now let's look at some size comparisons. And here's the 3D printed Mars Rover from Artcraft pens with the Moonwalk pen, also 3D printed. A 3D printed pen from Michael Liu of Platypus Pens of Australia, and a Lamy Safari, and a Pilot Metropolitan for scale. Now let's look at them posted. And here they are posted. All 3 of the 3D printed pens have no clips. The texture on the Mars Rover and the Moonwalk pens keeps them from rolling off your desk. The Platypus 3D printed pen has an eccentric weight on the inside of it that keeps it from rolling too far off your desk as well. And I've had one of my members ask me to ask you, John, whether these pens will be available with a clip at any point in the future. I said I'd pass that note along. Now let's look at them unposted. And here they are unposted. You'll notice that there's number 6 size steel nibs in all 3 of the 3D printed pens. The Mars Rover and the Moonwalk pens both have Yovo nibs, and the Michael Liu Platypus pens has a Bach. Now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and this is John Hubbard's Mars Rover 3D printed pen, and it has a number 6 size Yovo steel nib. And this nib is a medium. Let's check the wetness. It's decently wet, and the nib is smooth. Oh boy, that's good. That's really nice. Just a touch of feedback, which is very pleasant indeed. And the ink is the ink sample that John provided for me. Thank you, John. It's a perfect match, and it is Colorverse, of course, Martian. And here are some close matches to Colorverse Martian from inkswatch.com. And as to line variation, well, you can squeeze a little bit out of this nib, but it is a relatively stiff steel nib. But it's very, very pleasant to write with, very smooth. And the line this nib makes is 0.6 millimeters, which makes it a Western Big Surprise medium, or a Japanese medium to broad, on my Richard Binder line width chart, which you can find linked in the description below. And for our quote: and for some reverse writing, very dry, actually does it very, very thin, and a lot of feedback on the bordering on scratchy. And for some quick writing: No issues whatsoever. So what do I like and what do I not like about this fountain pen? Well, I'm totally thrilled with this fountain pen. Thank you so much, John, for sending this limited edition for me to review and keep. It is a totally unique work of art, and I'm honored to receive it and to review it. This is just totally beyond anything else in the fountain pen world, which is fitting because it literally represents another world in the solar system. John has merged his love of fountain pens with his incredible engineering skills, technical expertise, and love of space exploration in this Mars Rover pen. I know he'd be upset if I didn't mention that he relies on a team of experts in the realization of these writing instruments. From digital designers to hand paint artists, the Mars Rover, like the Moonwalk pen, is a collaboration of a lot of talented people, with John Hubbard the team leader and inspiration. So the price tag of $270 US for the limited edition Mars Rover might seem steep for a fountain pen with a steel nib, but I think it's fairly priced for what you're getting here. A fountain pen that is computer designed, 3D printed, and hand painted to be a totally unique work of art. The Mars Rover is also available as a roller ball, and there are standard non-limited edition versions available for $235 and $195 US respectively for the fountain pen and rollerball. And there you have it. Thanks again to John Hubbard for this unique opportunity to show you a remarkable achievement in 3D printed fountain pen design. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And please look in the description for a link to Goldspot pens, as I'm now an affiliate of the online store, and when you shop at Goldspot using my link, you'll be supporting my channel as well at no extra charge to you. You can also join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section, and you'll get cool emojis, badges, and sneak peek unboxing videos as well. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.